Just after breakfast, one of the nurses asks Linda to come to ward round. Linda doesn't expect to see the psychiatrist today. The meeting feels quite intimidating. There are lots of members of staff, and Linda doesn't recognise everyone. The phone keeps ringing, and different people ask her questions. Linda feels rushed and under pressure. The psychiatrist asks Linda how she's been doing. Linda thinks before she replies, as she really wants to be discharged this week. She knows that the staff want to hear that she's been eating, sleeping, and taking her medication. Despite her worries, Linda smiles and replies,
"I'm doing really well. I'm feeling much better. I'm sleeping well. I think I'm okay."
The psychiatrist seems satisfied. Linda answers the questions positively, but she's not quite sure if the professionals believe her. The psychiatrist asks her if she has any other questions, but Linda is too nervous to think of any and thanks the psychiatrist for their help and leaves. She smiles and thanks the staff, hoping they like her and are pleased with her. She doesn't want to jeopardise going home. Just as Linda is back in her room, she realises she didn't ask about her discharge. Later that day, Linda asks one of the nurses, Shira, about her discharge. Shira forgot to tell Linda that the psychiatrist thinks this might happen soon. Shira doesn't want to promise anything to Linda though, so doesn't tell her about that. Shira has seen this too many times. Things change quickly on the ward, and people get upset when they cannot be discharged. It's Shira who will have to deal with the consequences if the discharge doesn't happen, so she decides to keep quiet for now. A couple of days pass, and Linda is taken to another ward round. Linda wasn't expecting to be seen twice this week, and she hasn't been told why. The psychiatrist asks her again how she's doing. Linda tells the psychiatrist that she's doing fine and doesn't mention that last night the anxiety had kept her awake again. She thinks,
"Do not delay discharge. I want to get home."
The psychiatrist tells Linda that her section is expiring, so she's going to go home today. The psychiatrist says she may need support from the crisis team, but Linda isn't sure what that means. The psychiatrist says that her sister is happy to have her at home with her. Linda doesn't say anything, but is surprised. They don't have a good relationship. Linda feels her sister doesn't understand what she's going through and can be quite judgmental. She feels anxious. Linda is told that the nursing staff will arrange a taxi. Linda feels quite overwhelmed. She wasn't expecting this, but is also excited to be leaving the ward. It's been a difficult time. The psychiatrist emphasises how well she's been doing and wishes her all the best. A day later, Linda is at her sister's home. Her sister asks her what the hospital told her to do now. Linda remembers she is supposed to speak to the crisis team, but she isn't sure what that is. Linda feels unprepared to be off the ward. She's worried about going to the shops. What if she bumps into anyone she knows? She's lost her confidence while in hospital and feels increasingly anxious as she realises all the things she has to cope with. Sorting bills, paying for food, cooking. She needs help but doesn't know how to get it. She does not want to go back to hospital.